On those early Midwest mornings, when the air was cool and smelled of diesel, you could hear a tractor rumbling somewhere across the fields. Those machines of the 1960s weren't just tools, they were part of our families, our seasons, our stories. Today, we're looking back at 7 tractors nearly every farm relied on, and trust me, number 1 will make more than a few folks smile. Number 7, the Minneapolis-Moline G1000. We start with a machine that anyone who farmed big acreage in the 60s will remember the moment they hear its name, the Minneapolis-Moline G1000. The G1000 didn't sneak onto a field. It announced itself. That deep yellow paint caught the morning sun, and the big 6-cylinder engine let out a slow, steady rumble you could feel right through your boots, out on a wide stretch of corn ground. That sound carried across the heartland like a steady promise: iron, fuel, and hard work. This tractor packed more than 100 horsepower, which was a serious number in those days. Farmers who were used to smaller machines remember the first time the G1000 leaned into the soil, the drawbar settling, the earth breaking clean behind it, and the whole tractor moving forward without a complaint. It had the kind of strength that made you trust it right away, strong enough for heavy tillage, reliable enough for long hours during harvest. And despite its size, the G1000 had a surprising calm behind the wheel. The seat sat high, giving you a proud view over the field. The controls were simple, honest, the kind of layout any farm kid could learn in an afternoon. Many men still say it was one of the most comfortable big tractors of its time. Steady steering, a wide stance, and that signature growl, low and confident. For a lot of larger farms, the G1000 marked a turning point. It was built for an America that was expanding, planting more acres, and pushing deeper into modern mechanization. If you worked the land in the late 60s, chances are you saw one pulling a 5-bottom plow, or hauling heavy wagons under a blazing harvest sunset, dust rolling behind it like a golden tail in the evening light. And maybe that's why folks still speak of it with a quiet nod. It wasn't just a big tractor, it was a work partner, a machine that carried the weight of long seasons, the mud of spring, the heat of July, the cold bite of late fall chores. Without losing its steady heartbeat, the G1000 might sit here at number 7, but it left a mark on every farm that needed strength, endurance, and a bit of that proud character. But the one that comes next, that's the tractor many folks say truly changed everything. Number 6, the Allis-Chalmers D17. If you grew up on a Midwest farm in the 60s, there's a good chance this machine was one of the first you ever climbed onto. The D17 didn't roar the way bigger tractors did. It had a smooth, steady rumble, almost a friendly sound, that rolled gently across the fields at sunrise. You could hear it wake up the barnyard, settling into that warm diesel rhythm that told you the day's work was about to begin. With roughly 60 to 65 horsepower, the D17 wasn't built to show off, it was built to work. And it worked well. What made it stand out was the power director, a 2-speed, shift-on-the-go system that felt almost magical back then. With a simple hand motion, you could slow down, speed up, or ease through heavy spots in the soil, all without stopping. For farmers who spent long days mowing hay or pulling a baler, that feature alone saved time, fuel, and a whole lot of frustration. The D17 was a true all-arounder. Many farms relied on just one tractor for nearly everything, and for thousands of families, this was that tractor. And the way it handled, well, that's something people still talk about. The D17 sat just right, balanced, solid, with a wide stance that held the ground even on hillsides. The steering felt light, almost effortless, and the controls were laid out with a kind of simple honesty. Many teenagers learned to drive on a D17, easing it down gravel lanes, with the wind brushing their shoulders and the smell of warm engine oil drifting back. It was a machine built for real farm life. You could pull it out of a cold shed on a January morning, warm it up slow, and trust it to start even when the wind cut sharp. You could run it long hours in the July heat, dust rolling behind the mower, and that orange hood would keep right on pushing without complaint. And at the end of the day, the tractor's metal would ping softly as it cooled, a small reminder that it had given everything it had. For 10 steady years, the Allis-Chalmers D17 helped shape American agriculture, not with brute force, but with reliability, versatility, and a design built for hardworking families, it earned its place not just in the fields, but in the memories of the people who depended on it. But the tractor at the next spot, that one didn't just help farmers, many say it transformed the way they worked. Number 5, the Oliver 1650. We reach a tractor known across the heartland for one thing above all else: its smooth, confident way of working the land, the Oliver 1650, with around 66 horsepower. The 1650 wasn't the biggest machine in the lineup, but it had a calm strength that farmers trusted. What really made this tractor special was the over-under hydraulic shift, 3 speeds, shift on the go. No grinding, no stopping, just a smooth click of the lever, and the tractor settled into the exact pace the field demanded. For plowing tough ground, pulling a baler through uneven windrows, or easing a hay wagon up a gravel rise, that gearbox felt like a gift from heaven. Many farmers still say the 1650 was the smoothest operator they ever drove. And then there was the way it felt. The 1650 sat low and balanced, almost glued to the earth. The steering was light, the clutch gentle, the controls simple and honest. You'd climb up into the seat, look out over that white and green hood, and feel like the tractor was working with you, not against you, on a long summer afternoon, running a mower or rake. The ride was so steady you could almost forget the hours passing by, the breeze brushing across warm iron as the dust drifted lazily behind. Oliver tractors always had a loyal following, especially around the Great Lakes and the Corn Belt, and the 1650 earned that loyalty. It was a dependable partner for farms of all sizes, a machine that didn't quit, didn't fuss, and didn't mind being pushed hard when the season demanded it. From spring tillage to fall harvest, the 1650 quietly carried its share of America's workload. A lot of folks remember its look, too, that clean, squared design, the soft cream grille, the deep green tin catching the glow of a setting sun as the tractor idled down after a long day. Even today, many of these machines are still running, still pulling, still proving why Oliver held such a proud place in mid-century agriculture. The 1650 may sit here at number 5, but its reputation for smooth power and dependable iron keeps it alive in the memories of countless farm families. And the tractor in the next spot, well, that one wore a shade of blue, and for many farmers, it truly changed everything. Number 4, the Massey Ferguson 135. In 4th place, we come to a little red tractor that worked its way into more barns, more backfields, and more family memories than almost any other, the Massey Ferguson 135. The MF 135 didn't rely on size or noise to make its presence known. It started with a soft rumble, that gentle, steady sound of the Perkins engine easing into life. Whether it was the gas version or the famously efficient diesel, the 135 carried a calm confidence, about 45 horsepower, just enough muscle for nearly every chore a family farm needed, and somehow, it always felt stronger than the numbers suggested. The first thing many folks remember is how easy it was to drive. The clutch felt smooth, the steering light, the controls simple and honest. You climbed into the seat, not up a ladder, just a small step, and suddenly you were part of the tractor. No fuss, no intimidation. For a lot of young farm kids, the MF 135 was the first machine they ever drove alone across an open field. The wind in their face and the hay dust swirling behind, and it wasn't picky about the work. It mowed, raked, cultivated, hauled wagons, fed cattle, and cleaned fence rows. The 135 was the everyday tractor, the one you started first in the morning, and the last one you shut down as the sun dipped low behind the barn. Its light, nimble frame made it perfect for tight corners, creek bottoms, and small patches of ground that bigger tractors couldn't reach. Yet when you hooked up a plow or a bush hog, it dug in with surprising determination. What made the 135 truly special was its reliability. Farmers still talk about its fuel economy, how that Perkins diesel sipped fuel slow and steady. Even during long July afternoons when the air shimmered with heat, many families owned their 135 for decades. And some machines are still working today with little more than regular oil changes and a few worn parts replaced along the way. And there was something about how it looked in the field. The red and silver hood catching the early morning light, the soft engine beat blending with birdsong, Or the tractor idling proudly in the yard at sunset, dust settling gently around it. The MF-135 wasn't the biggest or flashiest, but it was steady, faithful, and always ready to go when the land called. But the tractor waiting in the next spot, well, that one wore a bold shade of blue, and for many farmers in the 1960s, it truly changed everything. Number 3, the Ford 4000. The first thing most people remember is the color, that bright Ford blue catching the morning sun as the tractor rolled out of the shed, and then came the sound, a steady, easy rumble from the 3-cylinder diesel that felt smooth all the way through the seat, not harsh, not loud, just a calm heartbeat of iron that told you the day was starting right. The Ford 4000 had around 55 to 60 horsepower, depending on the model, but what made it special wasn't just the numbers, it was the balance. Tractor felt solid, planted, light enough to maneuver through tight pasture gates, yet strong enough to pull a plow across tough ground without struggling. When you sat in the seat, with that narrow blue hood stretching ahead and the breeze coming over open fields, the tractor seemed to move with a quiet confidence that made long hours feel easier. Ford built these machines to be true everyday workers. You'd see a 4000 mowing hay one week, bush hogging fence rows the next, and hauling wagons full of corn come October. It wasn't flashy, but it was dependable, the kind of tractor that started even on a cold morning when you didn't expect it to. Farmers loved the simple maintenance. Parts were cheap, easy to find, and most repairs could be done right in the barn with basic tools. And then came the 1965 redesign, the 1000 series look that most people still recognize today. Squarer lines, cleaner tin work, stronger hydraulics, and a drivetrain that just wouldn't quit. These newer 4000s plowed, baled, cultivated, and hauled for decades, serving farms from small dairies to big row crop operations. Out in the field, the 4000 always felt steady. You'd ease it into a windrow of hay, hear the mower hum behind you, feel the tractor settle as the PTO loaded up, never losing its rhythm. On harvest days, dust would rise in soft clouds behind the wagon, and the tractor would pull slow and steady through the golden evening light. For many families, the Ford 4000 wasn't just a machine, it was part of the farm's heartbeat, showing up in every season, in every chore, without complaint, and maybe that's why so many farmers still smile when they see one today, sitting proudly in a field, paint faded, but engine still strong. But the tractor waiting in the next spot, painted in a bold, unforgettable red, is the one many say defined an entire generation of farm work. Number 2, the Farmall 560. There was something unmistakable about the 560, that long, narrow nose, the tall stance, and the deep, confident rumble of its 6-cylinder engine settling into rhythm early in the morning. When the air was cool and the fields were still damp with dew, you could hear a 560 warming up and know that another long day of honest work was about to begin. With around 60 to 66 horsepower, the 560 was built for real acreage, the kind of ground that stretched far enough you couldn't see the fence on the other side. Hook it to a 4-bottom plow, drop the shares into dark, heavy soil, and the tractor would lean forward with a steady determination, chewing through every inch. No rush, no hesitation, just strong, reliable pull. On rolling hills, the 560 felt planted, that wide rear stance keeping the tractor sure-footed even in uneven fields. Farmall engineers gave it more than just muscle. The tractor had improved hydraulics, comfortable controls, and a clean, practical layout that made long days seem a little shorter. The operator's platform sat just high enough to give you a proud view of the field ahead, the red hood stretching forward, dust rising behind in a soft cloud as the work got done. Many farmers say it was one of the smoothest running row crop tractors of its time. Of course, the 560 had its early troubles, especially in those first production years, but folks tend to remember the later machines, the ones that were updated, strengthened, and sent back into the world ready for real farm work. And once those improvements came through, the 560 earned its place as a dependable partner on thousands of farms. Farmers kept them running for decades, often passing them from one generation to the next. For many families, the 560 wasn't just a tractor, it was part of their growing up. It was the machine a father taught his kids to steer on, the one that hauled wagon loads of corn down gravel roads at harvest, the one that sat idling in the barnyard at sunset, engine ticking softly as it cooled, a gentle reminder of another day's work behind it. That Farmall red carried a sense of pride, and it never felt out of place, whether it was on a small family farm or a big row crop operation with miles of field stretching out in every direction. But the tractor waiting in the number one spot, that one didn't just work the land, it became a legend, and for many farmers, just hearing its name brings back a flood of memories. Number 1, the John Deere 4020. There was nothing quite like the sound of a 4020 coming to life at daybreak, that mellow diesel rumble, smooth, deep, steady, rising through the cool morning air as a thin haze of exhaust drifted off into the breeze. With around 95 horsepower on the diesel models, the 4020 brought a level of strength and reliability that felt almost futuristic at the time. Hook it to a 5-bottom plow, a heavy disc, or a loaded grain wagon, and the tractor would dig in with a calm confidence. It didn't strain or fight. It just pulled, strong, steady, sure, out on open fields. The tractor seemed to settle into the land itself, riding firm and balanced as the iron blades worked the soil behind. What truly set the 4020 apart, though, was its engineering. The hydraulics were powerful and responsive, far ahead of their time. The power-shift transmission let farmers change gears on the move, smooth, easy, almost effortless, and the operator station felt comfortable in a way few tractors had before. Good visibility, thoughtful controls, a seat that let you work long hours without feeling worn down. Farmers didn't talk about ergonomics back then, but they knew a good machine when they sat on one. You'd see a 4020 rolling through a hayfield in July, dust hanging low behind the rake, or pulling a planter across the rows in spring, each pass straight and true, even covered in mud, or faded from years in the sun. The 4020 carried a sense of pride. It felt like a tractor built not just to last, but to lead. Over 184,000 of them were sold. And for good reason. The 4020 became the standard by which other tractors were measured. On many farms, it was the main machine, the one that handled the toughest jobs, the biggest loads, and the longest days. Fathers passed them down to sons, and some are still running today, their engines as steady as ever. For countless farmers, the 4020 wasn't just equipment, it was part of the family. It stood with them through drought years and good harvests, through cold mornings that bit at their hands, and warm evenings when the last rays of sunlight glowed on the green hood as the tractor idled down after a long day's work. That's why the John Deere 4020 stands here at number 1, not because of marketing or nostalgia alone, but because it earned its place in the fields, in the history books, and in the memories of the people who relied on it. And when we look back at these tractors, we're also looking back at a time that built American agriculture, one long day and one strong machine at a time. When we look back at these tractors, we're really looking back at the people who operated them, the men and women who showed up every day, no matter the weather, no matter the odds. These machines are powerful, yes, but the hands that drive them are even more powerful. Every roar of the engine carries sincerity, resilience, and a quiet pride in feeding a nation. What about you? Have you ever driven one of the tractors on this list? Share your story below. They're part of this history, too, because right here in the heart of America, real power comes not just from the engine, but from the hearts of the people who keep it moving.